Hello, can you guys hear me? Hello,
Yes, yes.
sorry about that, please. I came back and I saw my network was just on 2G instead of 4G. I guess the network was still disturbing, so sorry about that. And now the other recording, the Zoom was interrupted, so the recording was disconnected. But that is currently being converted. Once it's done, I will send that to the group. So I guess this section now has 3 recordings. Okay, sorry about that. My bad. Okay, let me explain that which I just said about the internal and external high. All right. So this is an internal high. Okay. I call this an internal high because it's within this range. Is the high within this range. Okay. This is a range. Why? Because it broke structure from this range. Okay. This was a break of structure to the downside. And then this high was the same high that cleared out this low. So we could call this a change of character because it's a substructure break of structure, right? And then this becomes the main break of structure. Okay. So now this high becomes an internal high because there's a break of structure right here. Okay. So you see, this was the structure that right back down. This was the swing high. This is the swing high. But this is the internal range structure, which we have right here. Okay, so this also becomes an internal high of the swing range. All right, but then we only look at this price to clear out this once this high is broken. Okay, because on the substructure, this would be the structure, right? This, no, so until this is broken, then we'll be looking at this. Okay, so now, right now, on this range, within this range, we have this as the external high. Forget about this. Let's say this hasn't played out. So let me just put it here. All right. So then now this becomes the external low. Okay. So this becomes the external low because it's against the trend. External low.
How is that against the trend?
You say?
How is it against the trend?
How is it
External
against?
low, external low.
Yeah. How is
Against
it?
the trend.
Uh,
Yeah.
how is it against the trend?
Yeah.
Currently the trend is bearish. Okay, and we could say the
Yes.
trend is heavily bearish because let's say this wasn't a significant POI. There was no POI around here.
Okay.
Okay, just liquidity. So this is liquidity. So we know price is still bearish, right? And this was a break of structure. So this clearly means price is bearish. Okay. So
Yes.
now forget about what we have on the previous data, then focus on what we have here. Now you could also understand this is why I said what Samson sent to the group was very important because sometimes even without looking at the higher time frame or anything, with external and internal range liquidity, you could know when price wants to reverse or price is still playing within this current range. Okay, so now the range is bearish. We know this is an external range low. This is also an external range low. Let me just call this external low. Okay, which is also liquidity. Okay, so this external range low was grabbed right here. So we know price will be heading to grab internal. So forget about this. Let's say this hasn't happened yet. Okay, so this becomes internal range high of this range. Okay, so let me just mark out the range so it's also clear to you guys. So you see higher high, sorry, higher low, lower low, higher low, lower low. Okay, so price is going to be creating a higher low for a new lower low to be formed. So you see the price action is bearish, right? The price action is bearish. You could see that, right? So we're expecting a higher low to be formed, but then a major low was broken right here. So price could decide to grab all this because on the major structure, this would be the trend. It would be this. So let me bring that down a little bit, okay? Now the major trend would be this. Lower low, lower high, right? Lower low, lower high. probably book structure, you see, price book structure, then pulled back because this structure is formed of, a higher time frame structure. So you see, this was an internal range of this structure, you see, but then price did not clear out, break this high. So there's no need to pay attention to the above structure because price only grabbed the internal range liquidity of this range. Okay, so within this, you see this. Let me show you another one. You see clearly that this would be just a lower low of the higher time frame range. You see, lower high, lower low, lower high. You see, so this is the higher time frame structure, probably the weekly range right here. Okay, so within this weekly range, we have this sub range, which is this lower low, lower high. Okay, so this is the 4-hour range of the weekly range, right? So now within this range, price finally broke the major low, right, which is an external range liquidity. All right, so this is an external range liquidity right here. This low, external low. All right, so price grab the external low. What do you expect? Price should grab an internal high, right? Where is the internal high? Within this range, this would be the internal high. You get what I'm trying to say? Because within this range, no, let me delete this because this is not part of the family yet. This high wasn't part of the family because you see lower low, lower high, lower low, lower high. This was the last lower low that was created. Okay, so this becomes the range. But then price did not return into premium of this before breaking structure. You see, so this becomes, all this right here becomes an accumulation for price to go back up. Sorry, that's the wrong. So this. All this becomes an accumulation for price to go back up. Okay, so this is a redistribution of price. Price accumulated, sellers within this, did this fake higher high, so everyone will get accumulated. But then once there's a break of structure because price grabbed the internal low, the external low, this is the internal high of this range. Do you understand what I'm saying? But if you still go to the lower time frame, you will say this is a higher low, lower low, higher low, lower low, higher low, lower low, higher low. So this is a range, all right? So within this range, this is the internal high because on the 50% of this 4-hour range, you would see this. So this is the 50% liquidity right here. Okay, so this is the 50% liquidity, and then this would be premium, right? So this is the internal range liquidity, which is the internal range high. This. Let me just name that so it could be understandable to you. I'm heading somewhere. Once I get to this spot, you will understand what I did on that drawing. Okay, I'm just trying to give you a clear understanding of internal and external range liquidity. How you could understand this, and even without looking at the higher time frame direction, you can understand what price is doing with this. Okay, so now price clears the internal high. This becomes the next liquidity. Okay, because now on this range, not this range anymore, but this range, this would be a higher low. All right, so now once a higher low has been created, we expect price to create a new lower low because this range is still bearish, right? So this is just a sub range of this range. Okay, so this range was never broken, so we don't expect price to grab this. This is also an internal low, internal high, sorry, of this range. But then we only pay attention to this once this was broken. If price has cleared this high, we would know price was heading to clear out this high because this is internal range liquidity of this range. Okay, so now price cleared out the internal range of this range, but never broke the high. Instead, so this forms the higher low of the weekly. Okay, so now price has created a lower low of the weekly range because finally cleared out the external range liquidity. So you see why I call this an external range liquidity, right? Because the price action is bearish. Okay, So now within this range, same thing we did on this range, we're going to be repeating it on this range also. I don't know if I'm making any sense to you guys. If you guys are following me, you understand. But if you don't pay attention closely, you will get lost. Okay, so please pay attention. So now you see on this range, price created this higher high, lower high, higher high, then lower low, right? Price action just shifts bearish. Then you could look for an entry. You could look at an entry for an entry from this because this was a graph of external range liquidity, right? On the lower time frame range. So once price book this, how you look for an entry is that you still pay attention to the range. You see, lower low, lower high. Let me turn this another color so it doesn't feels weird to you guys or confuse you. Okay. So this becomes the lower low, lower high, lower low, right? So you expect price to create a higher, lower high within this range. Now, until this is broken, you have no interest of this. Okay, so if this is broken, you know price will be heading to grab to mitigate this because this is also an internal high of this range. You see? Now let me draw this. So I don't know, are you guys understanding me? Do you understand what I'm doing? This is a range now, right? But within this range, we have this. Now, since there's a break of structure here, this high will become, this high, this range will become internal range liquidity of this current range. Okay, this becomes an internal high. Okay, but we don't expect price to break this because price hasn't broken structure of this little range we have within it. Now, within this little range, we'd still have this. That's why they say price just keeps creating range upon range. And once you understand the range, everything will be clear to you. Now, within this other range, which we have on the lower time frame here, which would be, let me go down to the 45-minute time frame. I guess I can still go to the 45 minutes. But let me use the 1 hour, okay? Now within this range, you see, within this range, we still have a lower range right here. You see how we break it down from the weekly. This is what you look for at the weekly. You still do the same thing on this range. Within this range right here, let me use green. So please, if you have any question, ask along the way, okay? Because if you understand this, you would understand the market cycle very, very clearly. But then if you get lost along the way, you would understand anything at all. Okay, within this range, we have this, okay? Lower low, lower high, lower low, lower high, then a lower low. All right, so now within this range right here, we still have.
Why can't this
go on?
Why can't the external? Why can't this external low become POIs?
This external low.
Yeah, why can't this be a POI instead of the liquidity?
It can't be a POI because price action is bearish. You know, price will be heading to grab that because it's a bearish order flow. And then it's also a weak low. If you could look at this, This, which we call an external low, is going to be an external low of this range. Okay, this will still be a break of structure right here. So this was an external low. And you see why it's called an external low because it failed to clear out this high. So it becomes liquidity. Now, price has broken that. And now this is also an external low because it also failed to grab this high.
No, but this previous one cleared the high, right?
This right here.
This one, yeah, this one.
That's why you understand that this created a higher low of the higher time frame range.
Okay.
You see?
Okay,
so
understood.
You understand? Once you understand the higher time frame, you understand when this is not going to hold. This was a POI. Yes, this would be a POI. But you see, it never hold because price has already created the higher low of the next range. So you know the next direction price will be heading to will be to be creating a new lower low, which was this. Okay. So now you expect price action to shift bearish once this has been created. Now, on this being created, you understand that on the lower time frame of this, within this range, we had this lower low, lower high. So within this lower low and lower high, we still had this lower low, lower high, lower low. Okay, so you see lower high was created right here. Now this was where the change of character happened. This was also a lower high, all right? And then this became a weak on external range liquidity, which was cleared. But now you see this external range liquidity right here created a lower low
Okay.
of this range. All right. So now once this has been
Yes.
cleared, you see once this created a lower low of this range, it cleared out this high, which means a break of structure
Yes.
because this range has been broken. Now this is why
Okay.
you would pay attention to price clearing out this high, because
Okay.
this right, this becomes the new external high. You understand what I'm saying, right? So you see, this has broken structure on the substructure, so this becomes an external high, a liquidity target for price. But that doesn't mean that this structure right here has been broken. This is only a lower low of this structure. It's the lower time frame structure which was broken, right? So now you know you have every attention to pay to this because you expect price to clear out this in the first place, because this was a lower time frame structure of a higher time frame structure. Now, once this is broken, okay, you expect price to create a lower high of this. Okay, then a new lower low will be created. Now you know that's why this becomes an external high liquidity. Now, once that was cleared, okay, see, you would still look at this structure, you will see the same thing happened over and over again. Right here, we had the new lower low, new lower high, right? Lower low. Sorry, higher high, higher low. Higher high. Higher high right here. Higher low right here. Higher high right here. You see, higher low right here. Then price created a new higher high after clearing out the external high. Okay, after that happened, you see this cleared out the low. You see, this low was cleared out right here. But this was not supposed to be cleared if price was supposed to keep going higher. So this becomes a external range liquidity. And once this is cleared, you know, this high becomes a strong high. Okay, so price will be heading, if price clears out the internal range liquidity of this range, which would be this, if the internal high is being cleared, you know, if the internal high of this is being cleared, you know, price will be heading to clear out this low, because this low will become external range liquidity. Now, price did clear out the low, went back up, did the same thing, but now the same change of character happened again. We cleared out the external high. Now the same thing happened, an accumulation happened, but now you know a lower low has been created, right? So now this has created, you know, this becomes an internal high of this range, right? So you see, price clears and then creates a higher low. You see the change of character comes in, and now the whole price action becomes bearish. If we're supposed to take an entry, this would have been your entry right here, okay? Because this was your price action shift bearish, right? So now you see price created this, and then lower low. Book, sorry, let me put that back. Lower high. Failed to create the external range liquidity. Remember, this becomes external low because we have a bearish price action, right? Now, once this failed to clear the external range liquidity, you know, price will be heading to clear internal range liquidity of this range, right? Because it's a break of structure. Price will be heading to clear out this range. Okay, so now once that happens, you know the higher time frame is still bearish because of this higher low that was created. You expect price to clear out this low because this becomes external low. Do you know why I call this an external low? Because you see this low right here failed to clear out this high. Instead, created a lower high for this range right here. And you know the higher time frame range, which is the red one which you have right here, still has a motive to clear out this. You see, and then this is a higher lower high of this. Okay, so now you see price action just shifts bearish on the lower time frame. You see, we did not look for a change of character, neither did we look for another block or anything. All we just did was follow liquidity, and you see we got an entry. And now you see this failed to clear out the external high, okay, and now went back up. If this had cleared out this high, you know, price will be heading to go back up to this high, which would be to clear out this external range liquidity. But now price failed to clear out this high. This is where that picture which I drew comes in. Let me bring the picture in. see this right here? Now, price failed to clear out the low, and then failed to clear out the high, which was this. You see, price failed to clear the low, which was the external low. Okay, and at the same time, price failed to clear out the external high. This should be the external high. All right, but then in the same time, price only cleared out the internal high of this range. You see, this was what happened right here. You see, price failed to clear the external low, only cleared out the external high, and then price is going back down. Now, once you see this has been cleared, and you see this bearish break of structure right here, because if you look at this structure again, you would understand that this was the
Sorry,
higher.
can you repeat that again? I think.
What was that?
Can you repeat that again? I didn't understand it.
I said once you see price cleared out the internal highs instead of clearing out the external high, which was what I showed you guys on this picture. You see price cleared out liquidity and cleared out the external high, external low right here. Okay, but now failed to clear out this external low, all right, which was this we have right here, and then price is going back up. Now you expect price to clear the external high because I told you guys once price fails to clear the external low, it's going to be clearing out the external high, which would be a bullish change of character, right? But then we know this is a bearish scenario because this is a lower high of this black range. You see the black range is this lower low, lower high, all right? So we're still within premium zone, all right, of this black range, which we know the red range is still heading to clear out this external liquidity, which is right here. Okay, so we know we're still bearish, right? So now we're expecting.
Ask a question.
Okay, go on.
The black range that we just spoke about is that internal high for the higher time frame range. If price should break this particular one,
This
can I note it?
Yes,
yes. If price should, oh, yes, the one you actually just like this one.
Yes.
If price should just go up again to like come down again, it doesn't still affect the black range. Like we wouldn't need to be looking higher anymore. I don't even understand what I mean.
I get what you're saying. I understand what you're saying. Now, you know this is an external high, internal high, right? If this black range gets broken, we know this structure has to be broken first. If this high gets broken, we know this is going to get broken. Okay, remember this bearish scenario. This bearish scenario is still right here. Okay, so this is the external high. Once this is broken, we know price will be heading to grab this. Okay, did you understand what I'm saying now?
You mean this one? This one?
Yes, if this, no, this is the range. This is the lower time frame structure right now. Okay, this is the mitigation. This is a lower high. If price has broken this, okay, give me a minute, please. Okay, I'm back. Okay, so now what I'm saying is this. If price had broken this, all right, we would know that price will be heading to clear out this internal range liquidity. So there will be no need to look into this anymore.
Hello,
You understand what I'm trying to say?
Cannot hear you properly.
It's my network.
Cannot hear you properly.
Is my network? Is it back on? Can you hear me now?
Okay. Yes.
Okay, so
yes, I can.
You see, once this is broken, there's no need to pay attention to this. Then you should understand that price will be heading to clear the internal range liquidity. But then the picture which I sent to the group was displayed right here. Price failed to clear external high, which was this high. It failed to clear the external high, instead only cleared out the internal range liquidity, which makes this an external range liquidity again. You get what I'm trying to say? So it was it was only an accumulation, which would be a confluence for us. Right now, if this had happened, price is doing a bullish scenario right here. The only thing we could do is probably break even and then hope for the best, because if this gets broken, we're probably going to get stopped out and price will be heading for this. but this is an entry, right? So now what we see right here is this: price created a lower low, lower